The sun was shining on the north of France, and the Enfer du Nord, the hell of the north, was waiting the riders who were set to take the start in Denain in glorious sunshine. The world champion and winner of the Ronde van Vlaanderen, Lotte Kopecky, one of the big pre-race favourites. The women's race, of course, starts in Denain, does a 40-kilometre loop south before working its way through 17 pavé sectors, just under 30 kilometres of pavé in total, taking in most of the final sectors of the men's race that will be tomorrow, and including the two 5-star sectors of Mont-Saint-Pével and the Carrefour de l'Arbre, which comes with just 15 kilometres to go. Unchanged route from last year, and the peloton getting to know these cobbles in this race's very, very young history. One of those who performed particularly well last year was Ellen van Dijk, and once again, as she'd done at Flanders, she was working in a heavyweight team worker role to take the pressure off her very experienced Lidl Trek riders around her behind, working by the looks of it for Elisa Balsamo, but riding her own ride out front too. Lotte Kopecky was being forced to set the pace and chase on the road sectors in between cobbles to close up the gaps. And all the while, Lorena Wiebes, her teammate in the European champion skin suit, just watching things and waiting. Ellen van Dijk would catch Ton and Neerlo, who were the early breakaway of just 2 riders, and actually they would stay with her for only a short while because Ellen van Dijk was on a fantastic ride. The cobblestones were dusty and dry enough to cause this crash as we came onto Auchy-les-Auchy, taking out 2 of the Visma-Lease bike riders, including Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, the French Olympic mountain bike world champion from Paris last year. Meanwhile up front, a very dangerous trio had distanced itself, led by Lotte Kopecky, taking with her Lorena Wiebes herself, and they hooked up with Ellen van Dijk, taking Marianne Vos with her. Marianne Vos was watching absolutely everything that Lotte Kopecky did, and throughout the race, until the very closing stages, every time Kopecky moved, Vos was right on her. Working their way through the sectors, the group that had been really big was getting smaller and smaller every single time, and it split into 2 that would then rejoin as well. Lidl Trek were there in numbers, as were Visma-Lease bike, who'd regrouped after that early crash. And once again, it was Lotte Kopecky and Marianne Vos drawing themselves clear, trying to stay clear of the others. Jelena Eric, the Serbian road race champion, was on a fantastic ride all day, reacting and attacking herself as well. Well, after the solo escapade of Ellen van Dijk, it would be the turn of Emma Norsgaard for Lidl Trek. The Norwegian had already been 6th and 11th at the Paris-Roubaix Femmes avec Zwift and would spend time out front. With 25k to go, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot chose to try and ride across to Emma Norsgaard, and there was no big reaction from behind either. Ferrand-Prévot would hook up with Norsgaard and not too long afterwards start to turn it on some of the final sectors as well. It was just a little bit too much for Norsgaard to hang on to. She would continue by herself in second, but Pauline Ferrand-Prévot was eking out a lead that was getting closer all the time towards the minute mark. Going into the last couple of sectors, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot was rolling a really big gear and hanging on. Norsgaard was just about to be caught behind. In the final 10 kilometres, Norsgaard caught and then passed by the group that was led by Jelena Eric. It also had, let's not forget, Lotte Kopecky and Lorena Wiebes in there. Riders in the group behind started to look at each other, and with 5 kilometres to go, we were pretty certain it was looking like Pauline Ferrand-Prévot was going to take the win. Marianne Vos was reacting to everything behind, desperate to make sure she would be on the podium at the very least, because there were individuals in the group who started to try their hand. Lotte Kopecky had turned herself to working for Lorena Wiebes, and in the end would be distanced from the group behind, hoping that Wiebes at the very least would get herself onto the podium. Alison Jackson and Laetitia Borghese had made it into the group in the pink of EF Education Oatly, but coming into the Velodrome, turning onto the Roubaix Velodrome, it became clear that France were about to get its first champion in its home race in Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, the Olympic mountain bike champion, the woman who's been road, mountain bike and cyclocross world champion all in the same season. came across the line with a butterfly fluttering above her and took the win in the 5th edition. France at last, at short last, had got its winner. A fantastic late attack from Letizia Borghese carried the Italian to 2nd place on the podium, with which she was delighted. And then came this sprint between Marianne Vos and Lorena Wiebes. Wiebes in the end getting it by the smallest of margins from that leading group. Fantastic ride by the defending champion Lotte Kopecky, working for her teammate Lorena Wiebes, but off the podium on this occasion. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot celebrating the fact that she'd now equalled her boyfriend Dylan van Baarle by winning Paris-Roubaix, as he had done, and looking across the velodrome, seeing that she had plenty of time to celebrate. At the finish, it was a 58-second margin over Letizia Borghese, and it has to be pointed out, this was Pauline Ferrand-Prévot on her debut at the Paris-Roubaix Femmes avec Swim. Quite the debut. Scenes looking down on the velodrome were absolutely glorious. The sunny weather had held, and there was the top 10. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot from Letizia Borghese and Lorena Wiebes making up the podium just ahead of Marianne Vos in that really tight sprint. Fantastic sunny days racing. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for the men's race too. Fingers crossed it's just as beautiful. I know it will be.